Hi, today I'm going to talk about something slightly different than I would normally, and it's about a camera. And the camera that I would like to talk about is a Mamiya C330 twin lens reflex. For a camera that first came out in the late 1960s, I think it was 1969, it was considered a professional studio camera. It was a twin lens reflex with interchangeable lenses. It had a 55, a 65, a 80, 105, 135, 180 and 250. Now that's quite a kit, and if I have to be honest, I wouldn't like to be lugging that a lot around on a landscape shoot. So it's quite a camera, and I'm pretty comfortable with it. And but I've only used the 80mm lens and the 35mm lens, and only the black versions of these lenses. The earlier lenses were silver, and they were supposedly not as good as the black lenses, but that's only something I've heard, and I couldn't say for sure whether one was better than the other. It's pretty much a full featured camera, apart from the fact that it doesn't have any electronics, and it takes 120 film. It takes 12 exposures on that film, and it will give you 6x6 negatives, which is 2¼ by 2¼ in old money. Now, when I've used this camera, I've pretty much always used it on a tripod, and the reason for being is it is quite a heavy camera. It does have a bellows focus system, so it can focus very closely. Overall, it's a really good camera. So let's go over some of the features on the camera, and we'll look at it a little bit more closely. Okay. Okay, so this is the camera. It's a twin lens reflex. This is the viewing lens, and this is the taking lens. So basically, you look through this here, this pops up, and you look down inside. You would look through here. This is a little magnifier that pops up. As you can see, it's had plenty of wear. I've used this camera a lot, or I did use this camera a lot. However, I stopped using it maybe about 15 years ago when I started doing more digital photography. So basically, you would look through here. You will then focus on the ground glass there using these knobs here. This knob, you turn it, and as you can see, the bellows comes out. So that's how you focus. So you'd look down inside, you would focus it like that. Look down inside and focus just like that. So okay, so let's start on this side of the camera. Here you've got your shutter counter. Here you've got your single or multi exposure setting. Here you've got your shutter lock, this one here. Here you've got your shutter release button, and here you can focus using your right hand. On the other side of the camera, you've got the wheel to focus if you prefer to focus with your left hand. You've got a cold shoe, which means you can mount a flash or whatever, and then you would use a cable to go to the lens here, and that would trigger the flash. This button here and this button here are the wheels that would that hold the spindles for the film inside the camera. And importantly, this button here, this wheel here, this blue wheel, and this button with the arrow pointing to lock. I don't know if you can see that, but it says lock there and unlock over here. So it's currently locked because we want to lock the lens in place. And if you want to take the lens off, you would switch it to unlock, which would then allow you to remove the lens. Okay, so what that also does is internally it lifts a flap when you switch it to lock. It lifts a flap so that when you take off the lens, it doesn't expose the film behind. So it is possible to remove or change lenses with the film in the camera. Okay. On the back of the camera, there's a setting for the film that's being used, 120, and then there's the button here to open the back of the camera. This little screw here is to help you remove or to allow you to remove the viewfinder. So this, if you undo this, this whole thing comes off, and you can see the ground glass, which you would use to focus on. Okay, so let's close that up, and then concentrate a little bit more on the front of the camera. So you've got, on the front of the lens, you've got a connection here for a cable for your flash. You've got your button here that allows you to cock the shutter. You can't take it because the film's not wound on, so you wind the film on and then you would take it like that. But when you wind the film on, this little lever here moves down and cocks the shutter like that, and then you can take the photograph. Don't currently have any film in the camera right now, so we're not wasting film doing this. Okay, I'm going to show you how you would change lenses, so just bear with me while I get another lens ready. Okay, so I've got a 135mm lens here that I'm going to put on. So I'm going to change the 80 to a 135mm lens. So basically what you'll do, the first thing you'll do is you'll lock the shutter. You will then switch this to unlock. You will then take this and move it down like that. Open that up. That allows you to move the lens out. Take the lens cap off the back. Take the new lens, put that in like that. Make sure it's seated properly. Bring this back over. Put that in like that. All seated, and switch it back to lock. So now we've got the 135mm lens in. Unlock the shutter, and then you can take the photograph. It's pretty simple really. This fits the back just the same as it fits on the 135. So that's it with the 135mm lens on. Great camera, really like using it. So I'm going to change the lens back to the 80. So we'll lock that so we don't take a photograph. I know we don't have film in it, but so then you would switch this to unlock. Sorry, this to unlock. You will then open this here. Take that out. We'll take this off. Make sure you've got the lens up the right way. Put the 80mm lens back in. Put the 80mm lens back in. Lock it. Lock it on here. Unlock the lens. Take the lens cap off. Now that we've got the 80mm lens back on, we can cock the shutter and take a photograph. The film on and take the shot. And you can see when I wind the film on, this little thing depresses this and cocks the shutter. If you want to take the photograph, you can use this lever here, or you can use this button in the front. Me personally, I've never found it very comfortable. I've always preferred to use this button here. It really is a nice camera, but it's very heavy, and it's not a camera that you would want to walk around with all day. Also, you've got to remember that with the image that you see, it's not really suited to street photography or sports or whatever, because the image that you see is reversed. So when you look through the viewfinder, everything is reversed. So when something's moving to the right, it's actually moving to the left, and it can get quite confusing. So as I said earlier, I use it on a tripod most of the time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the back and put a film in. I'll show you how to load the film. Okay, here we are. We're going to load some film. Basically, what you'll do is you'll turn that little button so that it's up to the top. Pull it to the right, and that'll open the back. When you slide the back open like that, you've now got the space to put the film in. Typically, this spool will be down here, and you just take it out, put it up there, and then you open your film and load the film. So this film is Kodak Ektar 100. It's a print film, and I've heard some pretty good things about it. I've personally never used it. I almost always used slide film with this camera previously. So this is a print film, which is kind of new for me. And the reason I decided to use print film is because it's got a much better latitude than slide film. And this camera, sometimes the shutters of the lenses, sometimes the shutters can get a little bit sticky. And if any of, especially at the slower shutter speeds, like a quarter of a second. So you just put the film in that little slot and wind it, and then as you wind it, you wind it on like that until you see this arrow. Now this arrow needs to match up with these two little dots that are right there. So that's it there. You then close the shutter, close the back, hold it like that, and press with your thumbs. Remember to turn that, and then you will just wind, and that's it, it's cocked for the first exposure. Ready. Put that down so you don't accidentally expose the film. Lock the shutter. You can't take the photograph now, and that's it, ready to be taken out and used to take photographs. Just to go over the film that I'm using, as I said, it's Kodak Ektar 100. It's a print film, and it's got reasonably good latitude and can be overexposed without too much problems, maybe overexposed 1 or 2 stops without too many problems. So I'm going to take it out, take some photographs. I will post them in the next video. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's explained a few things about this camera. And if you've liked it, there will be more. If you've liked this video, there'll be more content similar to this in the future. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be posting a video shortly with some of the photographs of me out taking photographs with this camera, and then I'll post the results in that video. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch it, and see you next time. Thank you.